So the custom-made electrical box for my garden lighting path project has finally been completed.
Oh yeah.
So all that is left now is to finally fit it all out in the garden. Well, kind of. There's actually another plan I want to do as well. I want to create a hut of sorts to cover this box, as well as parameters for Christmas lighting in the future. Now I don't really want to spend any money on this part because I've spent enough already. But that's okay, because I have piles of salvaged and leftover bits of wood all over the front and back garden, including these really nice pieces of feather edge board that I reclaimed from a job a while back, which I'd intended to use in a similar project like this. These are well overrated for the project, but the offcuts are so small this is probably the best use case for them. So I started preparing them all by cutting them all down to size. This was mostly governed by the size of the smallest one I had. Once they were all cut, I then started to screw them into some battens to make up some rough walls. I've not really used feather edge before, so hopefully I'm doing it right, although I guess it doesn't really matter for what this is. I've realised I'm not very smart. I've made the same thing twice. Oh, God's sake. So I can't have one that side. I need to flip that the other way. Bollocks, why am I so dumb? Well, that's that, sort of. I kind of cheated with that. I just sacrificed another bit of wood and then screwed it in the other side without removing the last bit, and then removed the last bit. Does the trick. If I was going to have a piece on the front, I mean, it would be better for strength, but I think I'd rather it be a thinner piece and flatter so I can get access to the back. I think really the only thing that's going to keep this together will be the roof panel. I'm actually tempted just to fire some little screws in from there just to keep these panels together. It hasn't got to be seriously strong, and we're not going to see the front of it because it's going to be in that back corner there, so you're not really going to see it. And it'd be prettier than staring at two grey boxes as well. I don't know, we could try build this nicely. Like, I haven't done anything level, I cut it all roughly, I just kind of want it to be rough, I don't want it to be perfect. It's just like a rough made box that's going to be hidden behind the hedge in the corner. I thought it'd be easier to leave the top bit till last, just leave a small gap, and then what I'll do is I'll cut the angle I want out of this somehow. I'm going to have to cut it, have my slight angle for the roof pitch go down like that. Just seemed like an easier way of doing it. And I'll do the same cut for both. Obviously trying to remember this one's going to be the other way round. Screw my roof on. I might have to build a little frame for the roof, I'm not sure, but say it's not going to be holding anything. Before actually cutting the roof and putting it on, which would ultimately decide how wide it is, I got one of the old extension boxes and placed it in to get a rough idea of the size, and then worked it out from that. I then did add an extra batten along the top of the roof. This gave me something to screw the roof into, and it helped tie the two side pieces together as well. And I don't know if I filmed it, but I did eventually add another batten at the bottom as well. This stopped the sidewalls from splaying out. Once built, I had a gander at it in place. And there's all sorts of muck in here. I don't know if the camera's going to even see this because it's just a really awkward angle, but trees. It's going to be really awkward to get this here, isn't it? Oh, I was going to leave a little overhang on that, wasn't I? Hopefully that'll be enough for the felt. Plan was to leave an overhang on this top piece that actually sit into these grooves. Completely forgot. Oh well. Just sit it there like that, see if it stands. That'll be alright, it's much bigger than I expected it to be. I was going to put a package box down there, but not sure how much space I'm going to have left for that. So here I'm adding some felt roofing to it, just to mostly protect the plywood roof. Plywood's not the best material outside, but it all kind of went tits up. The corners were too angled, it looked rough, it ripped in places, so in the end I ripped it all off. And that's when I decided that paint will be good enough, probably.
So I cleared all the green stuff off the porch, only for some of the treatment to come off too. Then I found out we had neglected to treat it for over 10 years. Guess I better paint this too then.
3 weeks later.
There's always other stuff that needs doing for these projects, and it takes forever.
Right, so I finally got all of this painted. It's been like another 2 or 3 weeks. We've got the box on there. I've just fixed it up with some screws in there into the wood. I've got a couple of extra on this side because this is the side I've put this hook in. That hook is going to be where I attach the katenery wire that runs to the other end of the garden to hold the actual lights. Yeah, doesn't look too bad there. I've mounted it a little bit higher to bring the catenary wire up a bit. I've actually put that in where one of the screws used to go, so that's pretty cool. I might have to put some silicone or something along the top there. I didn't realise there'd be such a gap, but water could run behind that and then down the back of the unit, but I don't think that's really going to be a problem anyway, because the boxes are going to be, it's just going to go down behind the boxes as well. So what I've got to do now is measure out some cable, go around into the socket, get the unit itself actually screwed up, get it on. I've already configured the timer up and everything, then put the lights up. Doesn't look too bad in there actually. I mean, you can only really see it when you're standing here, and I imagine this stuff will grow out anyway. It's funny how in the end it's actually looking slightly different in colour. Even more humorous is my mum didn't like the colour of this before it dried. She wanted this done in something darker, so she went out and helped pick the colour, and in the end this is actually a lighter brown than that. But I'm not too bothered, I just want to get this on. If we get annoyed with the slight two-tone brown, well, I got absolutely loads of all of them now, so I kind of thought I'd need all this to paint the porch with. I didn't, so I got like pretty much 4.8 litres of the stuff left, so I could always repaint it in situ, where it is like, I'm not sure you're going to be able to see much of this, but because my fat ass is going to be in the way. Oh yes, wires, I love wires. God, who'd want to work with wires for a living? Oh, I'm just going to be showing everyone my crack. Excellent, that's really not what I had planned. Yeah, I probably can't use any of that footage because it's just all of my arse, but that's it in there. I'm just going to put a couple of screws in, I think that'd do. Wiring's already in it. I've already set the time, so I'll just tuck that all in, put the front cover on. Now, perhaps having this higher, hang on, let me go into wide angle. Now, perhaps having this higher is going to cause a problem, because of course the dusk sensor is on the box, and it's going to get quite dull in there, you know, compared to how bright it is everywhere else, especially with all the trees covering it. Now, the sun will set over that way in the afternoon, so there will be a bit of extra light casting this way, but that also depends on how much this bush thickens and greens out. So hopefully that sensor will be okay, buried away in there. We'll have to see what it does over this, well, the next few months really, into spring when everything blooms. We'll see how it goes. If it does come on way too early, then we'll have to think of something else.
With that, it's time to clip the power cable around and wire up the plug.
Right, the wire is in. Just a bit of slack up here, like that. Now I've had to just clip it directly on here. Not exactly what I wanted to do, because obviously it's visible, but these are really thin cladding pieces and there's nothing to really fix to in there, and I didn't particularly fancy pissing around trying to get into the brick, especially I'm likely just to whack into that. But anyway, it's not too bad. When you stand back, you're not really going to notice it. Could even paint it brown, I guess, but I won't do that. Pretty sure the switch, everything is on, so it should be actually on now. So if I cover up that sensor, nothing happens. Well, maybe the switch is off, I don't know. Well, it's working on that. I'll just take that cover off. Nope, I'm just being really daft again. I was thinking, why is this not working, not getting any power? The timer, the power feeds from the timer isn't cooling yet. That won't cool till about 3 o'clock. So this physically can't turn on before 3, and then whenever it's dusk it'll hopefully turn on. So in the winter it'll probably turn on around 3:30, 4. In the summer it'll be like getting on 8 o'clock, I guess, maybe even later than that. I'm just being silly. So I can put this all back now. It clearly works. Annoying. Oh, my leg aches down there.
So the final piece of the puzzle is the katenery wire I spoke about earlier. I have a load of this left over, as well as a load of fittings. All it is a steel wire that you string up that usually holds cables such as armoured cabling or phone lines, etc, etc. In this case I'm going to use it to hold the LEDs themselves. This is pretty simple. On the far end near the gate I'm going to wrap this around one of the fence posts. Then using the fixings I'll hook it to the tensioner and then hook that to the eyelet that I put on my hut. The tensioner here can be used to tighten and loosen the string, so I can make it nice and taut or loosen it to take it off if I need to do anything with it. Once the lights are fixed up, it's time to wait for dusk and see what they look like.